Hi, everybody. This is Tamara Kelly from Moogly. I am fresh back from England with a fresh, brand new head cold, as you can probably hear. So I'm moving a little bit slower today. If you'll bear with me, I surely would appreciate it. So, since we are live, I'm going to take just a moment and make sure that I'm not just out here talking to myself and that we are actually live out here on the internet. So I found myself on Facebook. Let me see here. I believe. Yep, we are up and running on YouTube. Let me just turn my own volume off. There we go. All right, so here we are. Hi, thank you so much, and thanks for joining us, even if it's for just a few moments. Thank you, Elaine. If you can't stick around, don't worry. This will always, as always, I embed my lives into a blog post on Moogly as soon as they're over, along with all the links that apply to it. So everything I'm going to talk about today, there should be a link there already, and if there's not, I will add it when I'm done. So if you can't catch us live, if you're watching later on the recording, don't worry. Just as good, stick around, hang out with us. I'll be showing you some cool stuff, and like I say, you can get all the links to that on mooglyblog.com. That's kind of the point, right? To show you what's been going on so you don't miss anything. So the first, I've got a whole list of stuff to talk to you about today. As I said, I just got back from England. I got home late, Saturday night, almost Sunday morning. But it was an uneventful trip home, which was wonderful. The trip itself was full of great events. Literally, the only complaint is that I did end up bringing home a little bacterial souvenir here up in my sinuses, but I'm sure I'll be better in a few days. I'm actually feeling much better already, and I didn't get sick until I'd gotten home, so I will take it. Overall, it was an amazing trip, and it was really interesting to visit a yarn show overseas and see what was the different and what was the same. One thing I noticed was that they focused a lot more in quilting on that show. There was a lot of stuff for quilters. So if you are a quilter, it might be called the Knitting and Stitching Show, but if you're over in the UK or have the opportunity to go, I definitely recommend it for quilting and honestly sewing as well. I have never seen so many just full bolts of fabric, beautiful, gorgeous dress fabric, and women and men out there buying things to make themselves their own wardrobes. It was actually really inspiring. Um, and one of the things that was also really neat and interesting that I haven't seen in an American yarn show before was that they actually brought in some school groups to visit the show. I don't know if that's because there was a lot of quilt art and textile art on display as well. I wouldn't imagine, your average 4th to 6th grader, I'm gonna say, is terribly interested in, buying yarn. But, the kids were there, they were enthusiastic, and like I say, it was actually really neat to see the school groups there as well, and just to see how they do things differently over there. Even the way the kids like, my kids have been on, school trips before as well, but one of the things I really liked is they had all the kids in matching little high visibility vests. Not necessarily bright orange or yellow, but, matching blue or green or whatever, so you could kind of tell what groups were together, and we saw that both at the yarn show and when we went to visit the Tower of London and some of the other sites. So anyway, just one of those little cultural things that I noticed that I thought, wow, that's a really good idea. I wish our schools did that over here. At least my schools. I wish they did that. So lots of really cool little things to observe. And excuse me. I will have a post up that probably I'm planning it for the first week or so of November, possibly November 6th. I will have a little bit more about the trip that we took and some more pictures and things to share with you guys then when I'm able to put that together. Because in the meantime, like I say, we've been doing lots of cool stuff on Moogly and we've got lots more to share. So let's continue. Let's get into some more of it. First and foremost, I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who contributed to the Warm Up America Moogly Drive that ran through the month of September and the first few days of October. I sent in my big box right at the end of September as well, and they were able to get back to me and let me know that they received an amazing 528 items specifically with the Moogly label on there. So I know some people probably forgot to put Moogly on there. Some people didn't even know what was going on, of course, and just contributed anyway. But we had 528 items come on, all labeled from the Moogly Drive. So thank you all so much. I am so just honored and thrilled that you all participated in this. And I'm so excited that Warm Up America was able to get this new influx of donations. In addition to the blankets that they're most known for, of course, they do hats, mittens, scarves, headbands, ear warmers, things like that, for people in need. And right now, with everything that's been happening weather-wise, we'll say out east, Florida, North Carolina, places like that, the need for those items has been greater than ever. My communication with them has been, they've been actually very busy helping out the people in need down there. So these donations genuinely couldn't have come at a better time with winter here on the horizon. While our drive may be over, I certainly want to encourage you to keep giving to Warm Up America. If you follow Moogly on Facebook, every Sunday I promote a different, I kind of cycle through. There's not that many, but I try and promote a different crochet or knit related charity every Sunday morning. And Warm Up America will absolutely continue to be one of those. They're a fantastic organization. And if you are looking to donate even locally, you can work with them to do that as well. If you don't want to do the whole shipping thing, or you can send in, little rectangles. There's just a million different ways to help them out. And they really are a fantastic 501c3 nonprofit organization. So please do check them out. And once again, 528 items sent in. Thank you all so very, very much. I am just incredibly honored that you all participated in that with me. So now, things that are happening, things that have been happening, things that are still going on. Of course, the Moogly Crochet Along. We've gone through block 20. Block 21 will be out tomorrow. So now I get to show you block 20. This one was by Nikki's Homemade Crafts. And here is my version. This is another one of my navy ones. So this is 21, so I'll have one more navy one after this one, and then I'll switch to my last color, which is kind of a purpley one, as you may have guessed if you've been following my rainbow. So here is the front, and here is the back. Very different, but still pretty darn attractive, although I think most of us with a practice crochet eye will be able to spot this as the back of the square. You can see, oh, let me turn that around again. Here we are. This is the corner. You can see where I carried my colors along. So I did not cut my yarn in between the rows. So it's subtle. It's there if you look for it, but this is the front. This is the side we want to look at anyway, right? This pattern was really super popular. This one was fantastic because it introduced some people to some fantastic techniques that they might have not have tried before. We have linked stitches, which you'll see mine here are in the white right there. And then right here with the heart, this is sort of an overlay mosaic. So if you haven't tried mosaic stitches before, this is a really small, finite way to give it a whirl. Really just a few rows of it, so you don't have to be intimidated. And of course, it's combined with increasing here in the corners, and we've got our linked stitches. So just a really, really fun square with some fabulous techniques. And of course, Nikki is a great teacher. So again, this is block 20 from Nikki's Homemade Crafts in our Moogly Crochet Along. Block 21 will be up tomorrow, and then we'll be down to the last 3. So if you're following along for the first time, that last square will come out the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. This gives us the rest of our year to assemble our blankets, put all those squares together, however we want to do it. 1 big blanket, 2 small blankets, a bunch of pillows, whatever you like. Then, of course, we've got all of December to put together our blankets, work on our other projects that we want to get done for the year, and we'll be back in 2025 with Moogly Crochet Along 2025. So that will start, I believe, I was figuring it out earlier this week since I got back. I want to say it's the 2nd week of January. I'd have to go back and look at my calendar to be sure. But basically, the same schedule as before. 24 new blocks, 24 designers, new patterns to check out and try, and hopefully learn some fantastic new techniques. So I will be signing up the designers for that soon. But definitely keep going. If you want to jump in now, I always say this crochet along's been running since 2014. And it's always 12-inch squares made with worsted or Aran weight yarn. So feel free to jump in anytime. Pick out your favorites from the past years if you want to get a jump on it. And otherwise, I hope you'll keep joining us for 2025. I'm really excited to see the new squares for the new year. They just keep getting better, I swear. So for my crochet along squares this year and for the past several years, I've been using Red Heart with Love. So this year, our designers have been using Red Heart with Love or Caron 1 pound. Red Heart with Love doesn't carry quite as many colors as it used to, unfortunately. I really do love that yarn. So I included Caron 1 pound this year so they'd have a few more color options so they could sort of follow their own bliss with their designs as well. So hi, Shelly and Kathy and my crochet story and Julia. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are watching live or even afterwards, please don't forget to hit that like button and do subscribe. It really helps us out. What else has been going on? Of course, there's a brand new pattern. Every time I try and talk to you, I try and have a new pattern to show you. And this is my newest one. This is the Bubbling Crochet Cauldron with Lid. So you can see here, it's a pretty, standard crochet cauldron, right? This is made with Red Heart Super Saver held tripled. I did that using 1 skein and without cutting the yarn. So be sure to watch the video tutorial for this if you don't know how to do that. It just went up yesterday. So there is a full video tutorial for this pattern up now, and I show you how to triple the yarn from one skein so you can make this really nice stiff pot without having to use a tiny little hook and tons of stitches. Because if you know me, you know I like things that are quick and I like things that are easy and I like things that teach me something new or sort of have a fun new technique. And holding this yarn tripled is such a fun way to make a really purposefully stiff fabric without having to, use three skeins of yarn or cause yarn tangles or anything like that, or use a tiny little hook. So you can see I actually haven't finished weaving in my ends. I've got one more end in there. I keep forgetting to weave in. The black yarn keeps fooling me. But it's got a little ridge around the inside here, and that is where our lid sits. So we've got this really basic little black cauldron, good for Halloween. Certainly could very much be a pot of gold come St. Patrick's Day, whatever you want it to be. I had somebody say if you make it in orange yarn, it makes a really cute little copper pot. I love that. So we have our basic cauldron here. It's got little feet. It's got little decorative handles. And around the top, as I say, it's got that little ledge, kind of like a teapot. If you've ever had a porcelain teapot that uses this technique, the lid sits down on that ledge. So this is our bubbling portion. Let me get it to focus there. You can see these are popcorn stitches. So they pop out right on top here. And this part was made using Red Heart Super Glow. Whoop, there we go. It's one of the newest yarns. I've got a bunch to show you actually today. One of the newest yarns from Red Heart. And this one really does glow in the dark. And it comes in a few other colors. Here are some of the other ones. We've got a kind of green, a blue, and of course a bright, brilliant white. Perfect for all your ghost projects this Halloween. But I used one skein of it to make this little lid right here. So you can fill this up with candy, yarn balls, whatever you want. And then the lid just sits right down on that ledge. There we go. And it will glow in the dark. Now, last time we did a live, I tried to get it to glow in the dark live using one of those little gel nail lights, and it does work really well. But of course, the problem is the camera adjusts and takes away the glow. Technology fought me every step of the way. Technology makes it glow, but it doesn't let me show it on camera. So do check out the still pictures of that if you get a chance. It really does glow really brilliantly in the brilliantly glows in the dark. Hard to talk today. But it's just really hard to show on camera. So I got some pictures and showed what I could. So thank you so much. Hi, Ocean Girl. I'm glad you were able to join us, and Moon Rose and Anna. So glad you guys are joining us today. So anyway, that's the newest project. Again, free on mooglyblog.com and now has a full video tutorial as well. So do check that out. Then we had a couple of different roundups that I put out this month over the past couple weeks. We've got 10 free crochet pumpkin patterns are up now on mooglyblog.com. So, lots of time. I like pumpkins because they're not just for Halloween, they're also for Thanksgiving. So some good patterns there. I've got my big plush pumpkin sitting on my dining room table right now. It's got all my napkins and things in it to hold, sort of out of sight. We also did 10 free Red Heart Super Glow crochet patterns. So again, that's using this brand new yarn right here. Yarn Inspirations, of course, put out a bunch of new patterns for it, but I included a couple patterns that weren't designed with it, but I think if this yarn had been out then, that's what they would have used. So definitely do check those out as well. If you've seen that yarn, if you've seen it in the stores, if you've been able to add it to your cart shopping on Yarn Inspirations, you'll definitely want to check out that roundups for some great ways to use it. And then, of course, we had a new designer showcase as well. The cocky crocheter, Kelly Baumseaton, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing the last names. That's the joy of meeting people online, right? Kelly, I actually did get to meet in person at a CGOA conference in New Orleans, and he was really fantastic. He was working on a cabled sweater while we were at the conference, which I was really impressed by because, frankly, when I'm out in public, at a conference or something like that, I don't have the mind for cables. I'm too busy, talking to people and enjoying the conference. And here was this guy sitting here crocheting this beautiful crocheted sweater and chatting up a storm and having a great time. And I had to know more about him, and I was really glad I did get to know him. So we've got him featured in once again, Cocky Crocheter, very active on Instagram. I definitely follow him there. And definitely check out that designer showcase because he's doing some really gorgeous projects. And one of the things that so often, I think, as crocheters, especially crocheters who make and give gifts, one of the things we hear a lot is that there isn't enough crochet out there for men. And if that's the case, if you want some crochet designed, more specifically for the male body, definitely check out his stuff. I think you'll really enjoy what he's doing. Then, let's see, I did a Yarn Inspirations Lunch and Learn. So Those are limited to half an hour. So those are always a little tricky when I do those. I have to pick out if we're doing a pattern or a technique. I need to pick out the things that I think are going to give people the most trouble, the things that I think people might need the most help on. So when we did Henrietta the chicken, which is a really cute little chicken amigurumi for a Yarn Inspiration Lunch and Learn, I only had half an hour. So we covered the wings, the feet, and the comb. The only thing we skipped was the body, and that part's really the simplest part. So if you're making that cute little chicken pattern, definitely check out our video on that. I've put that up on Moogly now as well. And again, that is featuring, let me pull this up here. This stuff is so cool. This is one of the new yarns I get to show you guys today. Bernat Maker Minis. Check these out. These are smaller skeins of Bernat Maker. Used to be Bernat Maker Home Deck. Same yarn, new name. And here they are in minis, tiny little skeins. So if you're somebody who's been making amigurumi, maybe you've made a couple of amigurumi kits, and you're ready to say, okay, I don't need to buy a new kit every time I want to make something, this is the yarn you want to turn to next. It's a smooth tube yarn, so it's perfect for making little creatures with great stitch definition. You can see some of the patterns they've already come out with for this yarn. Right there's Henrietta the chicken we were working on. And of course, you can use whatever colors you like. I have a bag of them open here. So let me pull that up here. I try to keep them all together. I've given some of them a try. But you can see, oop, yellow's going to flare a little bit on camera. Let me, purple. Purple always shows up well. There we go. Get it to focus. There we go. So you can see it's just like the Bernat Maker you've used before. They're just smaller skeins. So you can get a whole bunch of colors and make so many cute things. This is a great pack to use if you're making ornaments this year. I think you can make so many cute little ornaments. You can turn any of those little amigurumi into ornaments. Just add a little hook. So lots of fun ideas there. Lots of possibilities. Bernat Maker Minis, again, they're available on your inspirations. They should be available all over. You just got to ask for them or look for them. So keep an eye out for those. All right, just checking our comments here. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me again. Again, if you're watching live, please don't forget to hit that like button so that the web knows that we're live right now. Okay, so that's what we've done so far. One more quick mention, the Moogly Curated Toy Box is still up there for sale. If you love working with Bernat Blanket, you'll want to check that out. It is a huge savings on this yarn. And of course, you can use the yarn to make this adorable plush pumpkin, as well as a matching lemon and lime. And the lemon and lime are great as little stress squeeze balls. So they're a really fun pattern set that you can make and give as gifts this year as well. I'm going to take a drink of my coffee here. This head cold's starting to get to me just a little bit. Excuse me. All right. So what else? We have 2 giveaways going on right now. There is another giveaway for Babé Crochet hat templates. I do giveaways for these all the time, and it is because it is a product I genuinely so believe in, and because they're nice enough to keep giving them away. And eventually, I'm going to keep doing them until every single Moogly follower, I think, has a set, because these really are fantastic. These are what I use every time I go to design a top-down hat, which, now that I have these, is the only way I prefer to do it. And it really does make it so easy to make sure you make hats that fit your people. We've all done it. I think every crocheter, when they're starting out, has made one hat that turned out to be either a basket or for a tiny little baby, and you thought it was going to fit you, right? These will help you with this so much. You don't have to Google, different measurements. You don't have to look up a piece of paper. You can just grab the size for the hat you want to make. There's a chart that tells you, so you don't have to try and guess or anything. Grab the template for the hat of the size you want to make and just use this while you're making your hat. If you're starting from the top down, you start in a center circle, you work your way out. As soon as it reaches that curve, then you start working even until it reaches that length. Boom, your hat will fit. You can add a little extra if you want it slouchy. If you want one of those really tight short hats, make it a little bit shorter. But these will help you. And genuinely, since I've got these, I've used these every time I've made a top-down hat. Can't say enough good things. Highly, highly recommend them. Each set now goes from size 0 to 3 months up through extra large adult, which is a 24.25-inch head. So with a little bit of stretch with crochet and knitting, of course, it'll fit even a little bit bigger. So do check those out. Like I said, I'm a huge fan. They're a nice hard, let me pull it back up here. They're a nice, really nice sort of plastic. Let's see if I can you can kind of hear, it's a really heavyweight plastic. So this is going to last. These aren't coming apart. They're held together with a wire um, circle. Again, I have a head cold. Words are hard. It's held together with this wire circle, so you can take them off if you want to rearrange them. Only put on the sizes maybe that you like to use. Take off the ones you don't. However you like to get them organized. But this really is sort of a buy it once, buy it for life item. You're not going to need to buy a second set of these unless you go losing them or some really strange. I don't know. Somebody throws them in a fire. Maybe they're tough. They're gonna last. Is my point. These aren't cardboard. This is nice stiff plastic that will stick around and yeah, be with you for the rest of your crocheting career and probably be something you can pass on to your kids if you're lucky enough to get them to crochet as well. And of course, it should work just as well for knitting. I can't see any reason, knitters' heads aren't a different size. So really, I suppose you could probably use it for sewing, but that's past my skills for sewing, that's for sure. Oh, good. Oh, and Julia says she ordered her set and she loves them for using to make hats for the family for holiday gifts. Thank you so much, Julia. Yes, it just makes it so easy, right? To get all the hats in just the right size. And then you can play with stitches on your own, become a designer yourself. It really does make it that much easier. Okay. So that is one of our giveaways. The other giveaway we currently have going on is for Bernat Lattice, which is one of many fantastic new yarns that Yarn Inspirations has come out with this fall. Now, Bernat Lattice has actually been around for a little while. I designed a rainbow lattice wrap for it. Normally, at this point, I would show you that wrap, but it's actually getting boxed up to go to Vogue Knitting Live in January to be on display in the Go Sadie booth. So if you're at Vogue Knitting Live in January, somewhere in there, they will be displaying the rainbow lattice wrap. It might be on the runway, it might be in a booth, I'm not sure yet, but it will be there, so you'll get a chance to see it in person. In the meantime, they've come out with a few new colors in this yarn. The rainbow lattice wrap I made has sort of a pastel feel to it, if you will, but now they've come out with these darker ones. And the way this yarn is made, if you haven't checked it out yet, let me get it to focus here. I don't know if you can see, there's sort of a black cage, and in this one, it would be a white and sort of off-white filling running throughout that black outer cage. Let me pull out one strand here, see if we can take a closer look. There we go. There we go. Now it focuses. So hopefully you can kind of see. There's a black outer bit and a white inner bit. There we go. And the black cage is what's making these new colors particularly pop. You can see this one doesn't even have all the stuff on it, but it's just too pretty not to share. Isn't that pretty? Look at this. I love with the green and the purple inside there, or blue and purple rather. There is a green one as well that reminds me quite a bit of Beetlejuice. No, I don't actually have that one. I've only seen that one online. But these new colors, they're really dark, and it's funny. They were calling them kind of neons, and they look a little bit bolder in the skein, but when they're worked up, if you look at some of the free patterns, which I have linked in the giveaway, you can see it almost comes across more of like a jewel tone, really a really beautiful, deep color. So, if you're somebody who normally say, if that color makes you think of sort of granny squares with a black outline, if you're going to get that effect, I don't think it turns out like that. I think it turns out much more rich and deep and jewel toned. But take a look at those patterns, take a look at the objects that are worked up on it, and tell me what you think. That's just my opinion. Yes. Oh, I love that. Anna says that one looks like the Northern Lights. Yes, yes, that's awesome. So that's awesome. Let's see. What else is going on? So that's our two giveaways going on right now. And of course, I'll have a new one starting, if not next week, the week after. So there'll be another one soon too. But now I get to show you some of the other cool things. Now, like I said, I'm going to be doing a whole post about my trip to England, but I wanted to show off one purchase that I made at the yarn show. I got myself this skein of yarn from the Urban Pearl, and I will be going back and linking them in today's post. It's a merino single. It's 100% superwash merino, approximately 388 yards, and the colorway is called Sato. And it just really, there's their logo and label, the Urban Pearl. It was hand-dyed right in London. And I always try and make it a point when I go to a yarn show to buy myself a very special personal skein just for me. And this is the one that I got just for me on that trip. So I thought I'd show that off. And thank you again to the Urban Pearl. They were really nice, and it's always fun to talk to somebody, just talk to people who sort of do your dyeing and right there in the booth, and that was really fun. Thank you. Let's see. All right. So what else do we have? Sorry, I'm just checking the links here, trying to keep up. Let's see, what else do we have going on? There's so many things. Um, as I said, I just got back from England. Why was I there? Well, to see some cool stuff and have fun with some fun people, but also to teach a crochet workshop. So this is the new pattern that I taught. Now, it's sort of taken apart here in my travel bag. Like I said, I came back with a head cold, so I'm a little slow at getting readjusted here. But this is essentially the pattern we made. It is the Queen's crossbody bag. You can attach a crossbody strap to it or of any length. This is a crossbody. You could instead make it a purse length strap. You could crochet a strap if that's what you prefer. I used a crossbody strap and I sort of worked with the name. I'll explain that in the blog post, but this will be coming out as a free pattern on Moogly blog later this month. So this is your free peek at the pattern we did. It is using that new woven treble stitch that I've been playing with and I've got more ideas for. And I will say in this pattern, I think I finally got this stitch pattern exactly where I want it. When you're coming up with a brand new stitch pattern that you haven't seen before, which is my case in this case, I invented this stitch pattern, I think. It's a combination of a lot of other techniques, obviously it still uses crochet stitches that we know, but there was a lot of experimentation and a lot of tries and retries and then, but what if I did it this way? Let's try it this way next time. And now I think I've got it just the way I want it. So I really have now that I think I've solidified how I want to work this pattern. I feel more secure to start playing with it in some new ways as well. So this is a combination of that new woven treble stitch I've been working with, as well as the bag construction technique that I first came up with for our trip to Ireland. So this is a bag that is worked completely in rows, not in the round, and it's worked with two colors. And at the end of the bag, there are only 4 ends to weave in. And it's worked completely flat, not in the round, until the last couple rounds right at the top, which leaves the holes where we can attach our handle. So you can switch out your handles, use different handles with this bag, sometimes carry it as a purse, sometimes carry it as a crossbody, whatever you prefer. And it is just a really fun, simple pattern that actually uses some pretty advanced techniques. It looks simple, but it's got some fun stuff in there, and I'm excited. It was really fun to teach it live and see some people sort of discover how it works live, watch the light bulbs go off. That's always really exciting, and I love teaching in person for that reason. So that was really fun. We got to do 2 different workshops. We were using Lily Sugar and Cream. It was the right size. You can use, with 2 skeins of this, you can make one of these bags. Now, if you want to use a different yarn, I think that'd work just as well. I actually think Bernat Maker would be also a great option for that one. I just didn't have it to put together the kits in time. So we use Lily Sugar and Cream for it, but I think this pattern would look lovely in so many different yarns. Actually, you could probably use some of that glow-in-the-dark yarn and make a really fun version for Halloween as well. So that's the Queen's Crossbody bag that will be coming out later this month on wigglyblog.com. And now I've got some new yarns to show you guys. Now, I just got this box literally yesterday, and I opened it up about 3 minutes before we went live because I didn't figure you guys wanted to watch me struggle with scissors. I thought I knew everything that was in here, but I'm going to have to add a new link to today's post because they threw in some other stuff that I wasn't expecting. Here are some brand new shades that I didn't have yet of Bernat Fluffy. So here is Bernat Fluffy. If you haven't checked this one out yet, it's yet another fantastic new yarn on your inspirations. This one is a bulky weight. It is 90% polyester, 10% nylon, which means it's got sort of this roving-ish look to it, but the nylon's going to keep it really strong. So you're going to get that roving look without breakage that can happen so often with roving. So I got this one, and it looks like there was a green. Look at this beautiful green. Isn't that gorgeous for Christmas? This one just screams Christmas to me. Christmas, winter, forest, fall. And then, of course, got to pair it with this one. Look at these 2. Aren't these going to be just gorgeous for Christmas? Can you imagine? Just a really deep, jewel-toned project with these. These are lovely. So I think that was all the fluffy in this box. Let me look here. Oh, one more. We've got the black one. Great basic black. Black yarn can be difficult to crochet with, but, sometimes it's the right color for the project. So my tip is if you are using black yarn, make sure you have a bright light. It sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised what a big difference it can make. It also helps if you have a white table or a little white sheet or something you can put on your lap to really create that contrast between you and your projects. You can see in between those stitches at all. So that's my little tip for black yarn. Now, here's what I knew it was inside the box. Red Heart All-in-One Flower Power. This is very exciting. Brand new yarn from Yarn Inspirations from Red Heart. And if you're familiar with All-in-One Granny Square, which is over on the shelf, you'll know that All-in-One Granny Square is a yarn that creates a 6-inch granny square with just the two ends. It does all the color changing for you. This is the same thing you can see with that beautiful swirl happening here on this pink and white one. This one will make that a flower. Well, here, you can see them better here. A flower-centered little square. It's not really a granny square. It's not using granny stitches. Some people would call it a granny square, but it makes a 6-inch square. No color switching, keep on stitching, just like it says. So it is a worsted weight yarn. Yep, it's a 4. It is 100% acrylic, which means it will mix and match beautifully with your Red Heart Super Saver. So if you want a solid to mix and match any of these with, just go ahead and grab your Red Heart Super Saver. They're going to mix and match beautifully. You could also, if you prefer, use probably Red Heart with Love. That would work as well. But I've got some really fun colors. This is the pink one. This one is called Peony Pop. I just love that swirl at the end. Isn't that fun? And you can see, just like Red Heart Super Saver, that end is already sticking out. Love that. This one screams Beetlejuice to me. Definitely. This one is called Dapper Daphne. Look at that. Ooh, get that to focus. There we go. It is a little greener and purpler in person. I feel like on camera it's coming across. It's dulling the colors a little bit. Maybe if I sit back. But it's green. This is a really pretty purple that's just kind of showing up gray on camera. And then there's a lighter purple in there as well. But this one is really fun. Dapper Daphne. Perfect for Halloween for sure. Oh, this is what the flowers look like in there. So you've got a purple flower surrounded by the green. This one, this one's very soft and sunny looking. This one is called Marigold. Very pretty. And you can see this one creates sort of an orange-centered yellow flower with a blue background. And let's see, we've got a few more. It was fun. Julia, the fluffy looks like a future blanket. Yes, absolutely. And Anna says, still can't do the granny square yarn right. I would say it takes a little bit of practice for sure. Everybody's got their own tension. It can take a few tries. Take notes for what you did. And also do check out, I have a video up for a cardigan that I made, and it was a crochet along that we did much, much earlier this year. I want to say January. And in that one, the first step of that cardigan is making the granny squares with this yarn. So that whole video is just all the ways you can play with that yarn to try and get it to end up just right. Because, it's just the nature of the beast, right? They've got to have the color changes at a specific spot. And for most people, that spot turns out to be in the right spot. But just like behind clothes off the rack, most of us aren't most people. So we all have to make a little bit of adjustment. For instance, I myself go up an entire hook size. So I have to go up a hook size for it to work. Some people have to go down a hook size. Some people just go down a hook size for the last round. So it definitely is one you have to play with. But if you're like me and you love avoiding working ends, I do think it's worth it, because once you figure it out, you can kind of then, okay, now you know how to make the rest of them. So this is the next one. I haven't played with this one yet, but I know it's going to take a little bit of trial and error as well. This one is called Red Hot Flocks. Ooh, that one really is flaring. There it is, so bright on camera there. This one looks like sort of a orangey red center with a white flower, and then the orange on the outside. So this one is a very bold one. That's a lot of fun. Let's see, I've got a few more. This one is called, let me turn it around here, Poppy Star. Lots and lots of really bright yellow in this one. So, yep, we'll have, looks like pink. Look at that. Where's that glare one come from? There we are. We've got pink on the inside, an orange flower around it, and then yellow for the square itself. So that one's very pretty, very fallish. And then we've got this one, which is much more neutral. This one is just called Black Dahlia. And this one makes a gray, black, and gray again flower there. It looks like there's actually a little bit of purple to the center there on the pictures. You can just kind of see that. To me, it looks more dark gray. So I'd say that it's kind of a dark gray center to the flower, black flower, medium gray surround on that one. So again, sort of Halloween-y. Feels very Wednesday Addams to me. And then I think these are the same. They sent me 2 of these, I think. Let's see here. Yep. These are the same. This one is definitely flower inspired. It's called Flower Field. There we go. Get that to focus. And looking at it, from what we've learned so far, I'm going to guess it's going to have a yellow interior, green flower, white background. I might have gotten those mixed up. We'll see. Oh, white flower, yellow inside, white flower, green background. That's the thing. If you're looking at this, you're saying, well, how's it going to turn out? Look on the label. They've got the squares for you right there, right around the hearts. You'll know. You don't have to wonder how that one is in particular is going to work out. And you can see right here, this is, I'm going to see. Okay, so there is a blanket pattern, and you can scan the QR code right on the label to get that. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find that on yourinspirations.com if you want to just go straight to there as well. You can see there is an example blanket showing off several of those different colorways. You can see how they work together and how those flowers work a little bit better. So this is some really fun stuff. I'm excited to give it a try. They've done so many fun things with the squares already. I don't know if you saw later today on Moogly on the Facebook page and probably already on Twitter. I shared they've turned the Red Heart Granny Square all-in-one into little Christmas trees. So I think you could do the same thing with these and get more of a flower look and some of these other really bright and bold colors. So that is really fun. This is, once again, Red Heart all-in-one flower power. I already have it linked in today's post, but a brand new yarn to play with. Definitely all of these always take a little bit of a learning curve, but like I say, if you're anything like me and you hate weaving in ends as much as I do, I would prefer to sit down and learn how to use that yarn and then have it. And then you're only going to have 2 ends of yarn for each one of those little squares. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, Infinitely Zero said she had to go down a hook size. Yeah, I had to go up a hook size. So everybody's going to be different. Absolutely. It just takes a little bit of playing. It's kind of like, it's kind of like getting gauge, but just that next level. It's the next level of getting gauge. So that's there is to that. Now, that said, I have yet another new yarn I was going to show you guys. This is the first one I knew about. I got this box. This box was actually waiting for me when I got back from my trip. One more. New yarn. This one I know is all the same, and I am so excited about this yarn. It is going to be absolutely, I have to make some sweaters in it. I'm just so excited. This is brand new. Grab a couple colors here. It's in a bunch. Of course, I made to grab 2 similar ones, but Caron All Day Cotton. Whoop, there it goes. This is 100% mercerized cotton. It is a 4 weight. It is machine washable and dryable. And this is going to be ideal for making garments. Mercerized cotton is what you might be familiar with it from Peyton's Grace. That is a pretty popular one that is mercerized. So what that does is it's a process that the yarn goes through that makes it smoother, stronger. And for cotton, it also can take out the stretch. Now, if you've tried to make a cotton garment before out of, say, lily, sugar, and cream, you may have noticed stretching. Very natural. It happens with cotton. This mercerization should help with that tremendously. It's also going to keep it from pilling, in my experience, and it just gives it a really fine look. Now, let's see if I can find one that's going to show really well in camera here. If we can get it to focus. There we are. So now that I'm holding it really close, you can see this also isn't a twisted yarn. This is what I think most would call a chainette. Do you see how there's not a twist in the yarn? It looks like the yarn itself is, for lack of a better term, woven or knitted. This is going to help this yarn, again, hold together beautifully. It's not going to untwist on you. It's not going to split on your hook. It's going to drape. This yarn is so exciting to me. As a crochet designer, as someone who likes to crochet garments to wear, I could not be more thrilled. I'm also a sweaty lady. I get warm, 100% cotton. Again, I could not be more thrilled that this yarn has debuted. They've been promising it to me, and I've been eagerly awaiting, and here it is. So here are just some of the colors. We've got this beautiful green. We've got blue, purple. I don't have all of them. There's so many. I went immediately to the website and looked. There's even more colors than what they sent me. We've got this beautiful off-white. Ooh, there it goes. Another skein of the off-white. And then let me just pull up. This is a brighter green. So not just one shade of green, but two shades of green, sort of an olive and more of a brighter Kelly green. What do they call it? Grass green. There we go. And then just a couple more that I have in here. I got a couple of these, it looks like. Yes, this is the same one. This is, where'd it go? Jute, very popular color. And then this one is golden. So we've also got some differences there. So like I said, and this isn't even all the colors. They didn't send me all the colors. I'm sure I'll get them eventually. Oh, I'm going to need more of a couple specific colors because right here I don't have enough to do a sweater, and I think the colors would be a little crazy if I tried to combine each and every one. It would be a very colorful sweater, to be sure. But yeah, I'm just thrilled. I cannot wait. This is, once again, Caron All Day Cotton. I am absolutely thrilled about this yarn. Little more information. Let's see. It is a worsted weight yarn, machine washable and dryable, like I said. 173 yards per skein. Put the reading glasses on here. Yes, 173 yards per skein, or 100 grams, 3.5 ounces. Yeah, machine washable and dryable. Generally speaking, I wouldn't recommend ironing any yarn. It can lead to some weird effects. It calls for a US H8 5mm crochet hook. I'll be honest, I will probably go up from that a little bit just because I know my personal gauge. But of course, you can use whatever kind of gauge you like. And it's got a little QR code on it right there, so you can scan for some free patterns. That way you don't have to, be staring and breaking out the reading glasses trying to read the inside of this tiny little label that we've got here. So again, brand new yarn from Yarn Inspirations. As you can tell, some very exciting stuff. I'm very excited about this one. Yes, absolutely. So Wally's World says, oh, I need the Caron All Day Cotton. I love mercerized cottons. Yes, absolutely. And yes, thank you. The colors are beautiful of this one. I can't wait. The ones I've got are definitely going to have to become sort of, I hate to use another tote bag, but I love making tote bags, don't you? I want to do something with these right away. But yes, I'm very excited about this yarn, and I am really, really hopeful that it gets enough of a response that it sticks around, because I don't think this should be, one of those special occasional yarns that they debut and take away in 6 months. This, to me, this is the sort of yarn that needs to enter the line permanently. So work with me. We'll all stock up, and hopefully they will keep that one around, because I think it's going to be just such a joy to design and crochet with. So very excited stuff. Lots of things we went over today. And again, I appreciate all of you for sticking with me as long as you did through my little head cold here. Hopefully by the time I come back to you live again, that will be gone and I will be all better, and I will sound a little better as well. But we went over some cool stuff. Don't forget to enter those giveaways. We've got Bernat Lattice and our hat templates going on right now. Little sneak peek of a pattern coming up, as well as some fabulous new yarns to try it out in. And yeah, that's it for now. Look for a new Crochet Along Square coming tomorrow, and I'll be back in 2 weeks with another live, and we'll have lots of great stuff in the meantime. So have a wonderful day, stay healthy, keep stitching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.